Welcome to KHM Today, your weekly go-to resource for industry news and straight-up fun. I am your host, Carolyn Orff, and you guys, it's our 20th episode. Do you believe it? I can't even believe where the time has gone. And we have the Bahamas Tourism with us today, and I have my Bahama mama, and you're not going to believe what else it is. It's actually National Devil's Food Cake Day. So I have my devil's food cake as well. I know this is a thing. Do you guys believe this? I don't love icing, so my cake doesn't have any icing on it. But this is actually a thing. So we're going to find out if the Bahama Mama goes with the devil's food cake. And I'm going to test that out while you get a check of the headlines with Chantel Nye from the education team. Welcome, Chantel.
Hello, how are you?
Good. I'm going to eat my cake while you're talking.
Sounds good.
It pairs nicely with my Bahama Mama.
Enjoy. So first off, everyone, it seems like Margaritavilles are taking over the world. A few weeks ago, we talked about the Margaritaville in New York City, which is opening on June 15th. Now we have the Margaritaville Beach Resort in Nassau, good one for today because of Bahamas, opening July of this year. It is on the eastern end of Junkanoo Beach, and it is located at the entrance of downtown Nassau and within walking distance of the cruise ship terminals. It is part of a high-end waterfront lifestyle, and it will have 12 restaurants, Frank and Lola's, prime steak and seafood, everything that goes along with Margaritaville. So Nassau, July 2021. Then we have fall of 2021. Margaritaville Resort is coming to Key West. So they are taking over the Barbary Beach House in Key West, and they are slated to put a $3 million enhancement project into this resort. It's going to have 186 rooms. So Margaritaville coming to Key West fall of this year. And the last one, there's also a Margaritaville coming to Cap Cana. It looks like fall of this year as well. So be aware that that is coming. It is the second Margaritaville to open in the Caribbean. The first one opened in the Riviera Cancun last summer. So be on the lookout for those. Next headline.
I'm back. It paired nicely.
Oh, good. Next headline that we have is the Bahama is going to have a new oceanfront water park that will have 24 slides, a dueling water coaster, 500,000-gallon wave pool, and winding river. This is slated to open July 2nd. For guests of the resorts, the Bahamas, the Grand Hyatt, SLS, and Rosewood. This sounds absolutely amazing. Splash zones, mini water slides for the younger guests. And they are also going to have, friendly offerings. They will have, I'm very sorry.
That's all right.
They're also going to have waived the pre-arrival testing requirements. But this sounds absolutely amazing for families. So be on the lookout for that as well, for the Bahamas. Sorry. Next up, this is exciting news. Italy has reopened to Americans who travel on approved quarantine-free flights, American, Delta, and United Airlines. So this is very interesting. We actually have our own Bill Coyle and several of our agents meeting Emily Bookie in Italy, and they are actually traveling on a quarantine-free flight, which means, and I got this information from Linda Allen, they had to do a PCR COVID test 72 hours prior. Then they arrive at the airport, and they're going to be rapid tested at the time with filling out paperwork here in the United States. And then when they land, they're going to be tested again in Rome. It's a big process, but This is the way that they're allowing Americans to come into their country.
And Chantel, was that flight that Linda and Bill, are they all on the same flight departing from, I know Bill was just in DC. Are they all on the same flight or on the different flights?
They're on different flights.
Protocols?
Yes, they're on different flights. I know that we have agents that live up in the New York area, so they might, I don't know this for sure, but they might be taking like maybe a United flight,
okay,
which probably has similar protocol. Emily, who is over there, I just wanted to read this. She said, I know Americans are eager to come to Italy, but there is still many restrictions that we're not used to. Masks inside and outside. So imagine 90 to 100 degrees with masks in the summer. There is a curfew. Indoor dining just opened at minimum capacity. She said it's not going to be the Italy people expect for some time, so they need to be prepared to follow the rules. And she's been there for a couple weeks, and the rules have even changed while she's been there. So even though you can go, you just want to be aware to follow protocol. But it's a great thing to see. And lastly, did you ever think that you would want to get in a pool that is in the East River? Personally, no. But they are getting closer to, it's called the Plus Pool because it's shaped like a plus sign. The project has been in the works for a decade, but they are finally securing an official spot to build the floating pool, the Lower East Side waterfront just north of the Manhattan Bridge. It won't just float on the river, though. It's going to use the water from the river to fill its space. So they are having a water filtration system that is going to bring the water into the pool, and it's going to be over 600,000 gallons of clean filtered water daily. So it's unclear when the $25 million project will be complete, but they are pleased that they are getting the red light to continue with the planning. So maybe we can all meet at the pool next year.
That's something you don't hear every day. Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
All right, this month has been so much fun getting information on how to make the most of our fam experience. We thank Charisma Resorts, Vacation Like You Mean It, as at Charisma Vacations, the completely reimagined all-inclusive luxury experience, for sponsoring these segments each week. Robbie Mitchum is here from the video team at KHM Travel Group to share with us tips on how to best take video on site and post it. Please welcome Robbie to KHM today. Hi.
Hey, how you doing, Carolyn?
Good. Live from the studio in headquarters.
Wishing I had some of that devil's cake. And extra frosting for me, please.
Yeah, unfortunately, no. Well, I'm excited because I get the pleasure of leading a group of KHM agents on the FAM to Hilton La Romana on June 7th. And you are going to have to give me some tips today on how best to market this to my clients. And I know that you're used to being on site and you've got cameras and lights and microphones and you're at this level. We're going to take it down to the cell phone level because that's what we're all traveling with today. So what are the tips that you have for taking the best video and posting it to social media?
So firstly, actually, the other video content specialist here at KHM, Ashley, brought up a very good tip the other day relating to this that I want to talk about first. Is that you are, most likely going to be using your phone, and phones these days have amazing cameras and pretty good microphones too. The quality is just for any purpose that you could use, even for your business, is like perfectly fine. But you do want to make sure that you check your storage before you go to on location at FAM to make sure you back up everything and then make some room, because you're going to be taking a lot of video. You might not be sharing all of it, but you're going to be taking a lot, because not only is this going to be helpful to show your clients, but I'm going to tell you over the course of this chat that it's going to be helpful for you too, to remember exactly what you've seen. Think about when football players watch their highlight reels after a game, right? This is kind of the same concept. And then also make sure that you are starting the day with a full battery. If you can, have one of those external batteries with you. They're great. They're pretty easy to carry now and usually can carry a pretty good charge. So with those out of the way, I kind of have three categories that I want to talk to you about for when you're taking video on a fam. And those are going to be safety, clarity, and impact. So safety, you might be thinking, well, I'm just recording on my cell phone. What do I have to be worried about? It's not necessarily your physical safety, though you should make sure that you are not getting so focused on the camera that you are not aware of your surroundings. Keep in mind, you'll be on a tour with other people. So try to make sure that you're not taking up space that they want to be in, or that you're not bumping into them and things. Make sure that you're careful around stairways or railings, stuff like that. Just make sure that you keep your awareness about you for where you're at. Also, you're going to want to make sure that you're sensitive to filming other people, whether they be the staff, the other agents that are on the fam with you, or guests who are there on resort currently, especially children or people that are around the pool or beach. If you can, avoid having them in the video at all. And then also be sure to ask your guide or the concierge or whomever you're able to kind of speak to that's a representative of the resort if there's anything off limits. You want to know that stuff beforehand. Just to show common courtesy, but also so that you can, use your time most wisely. So the next kind of aspect to go over is going to be clarity. So you're going to want to make sure that you are producing an image that is crisp. It doesn't have to be so worthy of the silver screen or anything, but as long as you can see what you're looking at. So lighting is going to be really important. Don't be afraid to ask your guides to open up the blinds. I mean, you want to see that view anyway. Make sure that you kind of try to position in a way that looks, natural and appealing. If you're holding your phone horizontally, which I highly recommend for recording video that you wish to show others, then you can try to put the points of interest, near to the upper corners of the screen. That way, you kind of are already working with where people's eyes are naturally drawn. And then also, think about like how you might kind of trim things together. You don't have to just keep your phone on and record nonstop. You're welcome to do that. You'll just have a little more work afterwards. But, just make sure that when you get set up and you are getting a shot, you want to get a few seconds uninterrupted with kind of, minimal movement or activity going on. That way you have something really clean to look at.
I know a lot of times if I'm looking on YouTube for specific videos or cabin staterooms or things like that, some of the videos are so funny because the first thing you see is them like banging into doors and things like that. And those are the things that we should trim down. And every phone, pretty much, except for maybe the flip phone, has the capability to trim things down, right?
Yeah. Basically, if you have a smartphone, then so like I have an iPhone, I have an Apple. Basically, in the camera, there is a function, or in the photo viewer, when you look at photos and video, where you can hit edit, and for video, it shows you a timeline. And Androids, I'm pretty sure they have this exact similar thing. It might look a little different, but the concept is the same. And you can just drag where you want the beginning and end of that clip to be. And then, like Carolyn just said, just trim off the stuff that's unnecessary and just get that clean, nice, beautiful, crisp shot of the room, of the view, of the lobby, whatever it is that you're recording. And then the final thing that we're going to go over is the impact. So obviously, the stuff that you're going to want to share is not only going to be stuff that is informative, but stuff that is impactful and that can help get an emotional response or engage with your audience, your clients, your prospective clients. So, something that they wouldn't see anywhere else, something very unique or that really catches your eye or your interest, something you can definitely talk about in the qualification process or on social media. Feel free to share that stuff. I mean, things like the beach, the pools, like those are great, especially if they are really unique. But, for the most part, you can see a lot of that stuff anywhere in the world. So really focus on what it is that makes that location special. And that's going to be the stuff that you're going to want to prioritize.
Awesome. So how do we go about, at the end of the day, we've got all this footage. How do we go about posting it, and how often should we post it?
So, You obviously can spend as much or as little time kind of going through trimming, picking out the best clips. What I would heavily advise against is, regardless of what platform you're using, be it Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat even, I would refrain from opening the floodgates and letting out a deluge of everything that you've been recording for that day right after you're done. Not only is this more likely to just sort of get the people who are following you on social media, like sort of like, oh man, they're posting a lot today, let me just scroll on by this. But also, you know, you really haven't necessarily at that point been able to think about what happened and process and digest it and think about how you want to implement it into your own marketing strategy. It is relatively simple on a lot of these platforms to plan posts, to schedule a post. And something that you can do is just like when you're done with the fam, when you get home and when you've unwound and you have some free time, go through, find the clips that you really like and schedule them so that they're kind of peppered throughout, you know, maybe the upcoming season or quarter, or, you know, just a month ahead of time, you know, and have it so that maybe every day a different sort of segment, maybe even a different resort if you went on multiple fams. You know, 1 or 2 posts a day is, you know, as much as you should really worry about at this time.
Great. Robbie, thank you so much for being here. You guys, next week, we're going to finish out our Fam Forward month, and Tim Smith, the sales animal, is going to be here to tie it all together and share with us some ideas as to how all of these things that we've done to prep for our fam and that we've incorporated can translate into a booking when you've returned. So stay tuned for that next week. Robbie, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Carolyn.
All right. The moment you've all been waiting for. Travel insurance seems to be just something that overwhelms us all. And so the last couple of weeks, Virginia Ann Buscemi from the education team has been digging a little bit deeper with us into travel protection. And our big takeaways have been we've got to read, and then read some more. So please welcome back Virginia Ann Buscemi from the education team here at KHM for part 2 of 3 with travel protection. Hi, VA.
Hi, Carolyn. How are you today?
Good. Thanks for joining us on our 20th episode. And we should say that your segment is sponsored by Apple Vacations, Americans' favorite vacation company for Mexico, Caribbean, Hawaii, and so much more. Now, you have made travel protection, I think, an Olympic sport.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
In past segments, we spoke about deciphering those policies and the different types of travel protection that are available to our clients. And, you know, the message at the end of the day was you got to read even the fine print. This week, you're going to focus a little bit more on just the policy. So let's start with price. This is important to our clients, and sometimes it's the driving factor. So what are your thoughts on price when it comes to travel protection?
Well, usually the price for a supplier offered policy will be less than, say, a third-party company. And I say usually because I don't know about you, but I've noticed lately that the prices have really gone up. Yes. On what the suppliers are offering, especially if we're talking about all cash back. Mm-hmm. The voucher seems to be a little bit less, but when we're talking about all cash back, the prices have really gone up.
You absolutely are correct in that assessment.
Yes. But then I've noticed some price creep too on the third parties. So, okay. I mean, I think that that's a nature of what we have going on today.
So when we're talking about third party, what are the 2 factors that are in play when we're talking about price? What drives that price?
Age and the cost of the trip. With third party, they have tables, and it seems like in younger years, it's maybe a 5-year range. When you get to be older, it's a shorter time frame before the price goes up. And then cost wise, sometimes it's $2,000 or $3,000 all fit within the same range. So whenever I'm looking at it, if I say the range is from $2,501 to $2,800, and I have someone that's in the 26 range, 2600, I'll go ahead and bump it up to whatever the top of that range is to get them the most coverage in case they purchase something else that needs to be covered.
Okay, like I'm dumbfounded right now because that never dawned on me to do it. I always went direct to like the actual price of, oh.
I did that for a long time, and then when I noticed, hey, you know, the price is the same.
Right.
If I go up $200, hey, I do it. And then not only that, it helps with your commission protection. Because if you only cover the amount that the client is buying on their trip, then all of the insurance is used if they have a claim and it's paid. So there's nothing left over for your commission protection.
I don't know about you guys, but like I'm speechless now. This is not, we did not even address this when we talked about this topic.
No,
That's
we
so
did
funny.
not.
All right, so let me ask you this. When I am booking an all-inclusive trip, and we'll use ALG as our example, typically I will send, you know, my statement saying that travel protection is recommended. Here is the price, it's additional, and here is the link to the plan. And it's always the cashback option. I never offer the voucher option. Is that enough? Or should I take it one step further and look at that third party?
Well, I know in a couple of weeks we're going to be talking more about the client because, you know, we've been talking about the right coverage with the right policy for the right client. For me, it depends on the client. For some people, what is supplier based is fine. The coverages are fine. They may be happy with $10,000 or $20,000 medical. But for some people, that's not enough, especially as we get older. And so for my clients, since most of them are closer to my age, I only offer third party.
Okay.
I will tell them that the other is available, but I will offer third party. And I will have to say, though, again, it depends on the trip because I've actually added more supplier-based policies this year than I've ever done in the whole 20 years that I've been booking travel because I had more people traveling in the US.
Okay.
So that Globus National Parks tour, the Globus coverage was fine. For Universal Vacations, that coverage was fine because we're staying in the US. We're not going out of the country.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about cancellation. How am I going to get my money back in the event of cancellation? And with, you know, what happens with third party? How am I getting my money back?
With third party, you're filing a claim. You have to have all your paperwork. I can only really speak to travel insured because that's mostly what I offer to my clients. But there is a part of that claim form that I actually, as the agent, have to sign off on. It's a whole lot easier with clients who book everything for their trip through me because then I have all the receipts. I can put the whole package together and say, okay, here's everything that you need. Sign off on this form and we'll get this submitted for you. For trip delay, it's a little, they have to make sure and keep all their receipts. Mm-hmm. If they have to spend the night in the hotel, they have to keep all those receipts. For any meals, if they have to buy any emergency supplies, then they need receipts. But I work with my clients through that process.
Okay. Now, if it's a supplier based, we've got two options, right? Sometimes depending, we can get that voucher or we can get cash.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Now you're more familiar with supplier based than I am because I don't offer it that often. So I don't really have any experience with claims, but I understand that it's considerably easier than what you're doing with third party.
Yeah, the cancellation is easier. I have to say I've never had anyone actually file a claim for anything that's within the actual policy. it's always been that pre-trip cancellation. And that is, you know, a click of a button, which is very, very easy. All right, so there are a lot of terms in policies, but the one that hangs people up the most is pre-existing condition waiver. This is the $1 million definition out there.
Medical conditions. Yep.
So can you put that in simple terms for us?
Well, I'll try, but remember, I am not I'm not a licensed insurance salesperson, but I actually had to write something out today because I knew you were going to ask me this. It's basically any medical condition that's been treated in a recent time frame by a doctor or a medical professional, or has had medication prescribed by a doctor for that condition. And I said a recent time frame because it differs. For some companies, it may be 6 months. I went in and was reading all the ins and outs of the Princess offered policies, and theirs is 60 days. That really surprised me because it was only 60 days. But that's kind of a general plain English definition.
So if I take a medication every night and I've taken it for years, and is that a pre-existing medical condition, or is it's just something within those 6 months or 60 days if it was that policy?
The way that I understand it now, you would always want to check on this, but the way I understand it is if you've been taking the same medication for months and it has not changed, or you have not been to the doctor for that condition in the last whatever time frame, then it's not considered pre-existing. But I don't know. I would really, like I have asthma. I take medication every day for it. It has not changed. It's stayed the same for years. But if I were to get sick with asthma, I think they would still want me to have bought that policy to have that waiver. Or I'm going to want that for myself, just for my own peace of mind.
Okay. And the important piece behind this is that I don't know about the rest of the agents on the call, but I struggle with buying an insurance policy when I know that cruise deposit is refundable. But this is where the pre-existing condition comes into play, is that if you don't purchase it at time of deposit, refundable or not, if you have a problem with that condition, it's not going to be covered.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And for a third party, that time frame can be anywhere from 14 to 21 days, just depending on the company and the policy.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts. We're going to come back in another 2 weeks and talk about part 3, which is about the client. But little by little, I feel like we're chipping away at travel protection and learning, because again, I learned something new today. So thank you for that.
Oh, one thing we did not touch on with pre-existing, and I'll make this quick. It's not just the traveler. It is, say, if it's a covered reason and the family that they list is mother, father, aunt, uncle, children, whatever, it's their pre-existing conditions also, not just the traveler. And most people will say, I'm not going to get sick, but what about their elderly mother or their sister who has a pre-existing condition? So that's always important to remember too, and something that I remind my clients about when we're talking about this.
That's great to know and remember. So thank you so much for being here on our 20th
Thank
episode.
you.
And National Devil's Food Cake Day. Go enjoy.
That's right. Bye-bye.
All right, the Bahamas is a beautiful destination, and as the world opens up again, it is a great destination to offer to your clients. Coming to us live from the beach in the Bahamas, please welcome Makala Moss from the Bahamas Ministry of Tourism. Welcome.
Hi, Carolyn. Thank you for having me.
It's a little breezy there today, it looks like.
It is. We're kicking up a little bit of sand and giving you some white caps. There was a guy behind me that was paragliding for a little while, so I hope he comes back into the frame.
Well, do you have your Bahama mama? with you?
I do. I didn't get the clear glass,
Ooh.
but I'm showing off our flamingo.
Very nice. And you even put the garnish on.
I did.
Very
I
nice.
did.
Well,
Cheers
cheers.
to you
Thank you for
guys.
being here.
Thank you.
So, what beach exactly are you at?
So today I am on the island of Grand Bahama, and I am on Taino Beach. Anyone who's visited Grand Bahama Island might have been at Taino Beach during our Goombay Summer Festival, or just down the road in one of our local communities called Smith's Point, also on Taino Beach. We have fish fry in Grand Bahama, so we hope you come and see us sometime soon.
Very nice. Well, we're going to take a look at the map of the Bahamas. And, you know, the geography is amazing. There's actually 16 different islands, correct?
That's right. We market 16 different islands, but the destination only has 700 islands and 2,000 keys. So we don't want you to get confused or overwhelmed.
And much like we described the islands of Hawaii, these each have their own personalities, correct?
That is right. That is right. The capital is Nassau, situated near the center, well sheltered from all of the other islands, which is why it was such a haven for our pirate visitors many, many years ago. But the other islands stretch over 100,000 square miles of Atlantic Ocean. So from the northern Grand Bahama Island to the southern tip in the Anaguas, you've got so much to see and varying topography. And the ancestors and the visitors that have come and settled into our island have made certain nuances of their own that have blended with the Bahamian culture. So each island is very unique and special.
So typically we hear, okay, we're going to fly into Nassau, but there's other destinations that we can fly into that are not necessarily that much trouble to get to. What are some of those?
That's right. So we have 20 international airports in the Bahamas. Again, one of those little fun facts that most people don't consider. Getting into Nassau is easy. With it being the capital, it's got the most direct airlift. But getting into Freeport, Abaco, Eleuthera, Exuma, Bimini, or Andros from South Florida is equally as easy and convenient by airplane, by seaplane, by private plane, by ferry, by cruise, or by yacht.
Wow. So if I do fly into Nassau, can I get to some of those other islands, and how do I do that?
Absolutely. So in the Bahamas, we like to get to our islands as quickly as possible. And our national carrier, Bahamas Air, flies to all of our major islands. However, if you want to take a ferry, we have regular ferry service with Bahamas Ferries that leaves from Nassau and goes into Eleuthera, Harbor Island, and Spanish Wells. And that day trip is phenomenal. You get to walk on Pink Sand Beach. Those houses and the streets are very quaint. They look like a bit of a Norman Rockwell photograph. So anyone who loves white picket fences and little wooden houses and lots of tropical colors will find themselves very much at home in Harbor Island and Spanish Wells in particular, but Eleuthera also.
So there are just a few all-inclusive properties in the Bahamas, which really lends itself to leaving the walls of the resort and enjoying the culture and the people and the restaurants. What are some of the things we can experience outside of our hotel?
Absolutely. So with the Bahamas being such a close distance from South Florida, visitors, family visitors, multi-generational travelers, singles, couples, romantic travel, we have activities for any type of client. The Bahamas is quite famous now for our little swimming pigs. I know most people talk about pigs in a blanket or when pigs fly, but our pigs swim and they love the beach and the salt water just like everybody else. So excursions from Nassau into the Exumas, where they are most prevalent, is a great day trip. And for guests that are actually staying in the Exumas, it's a little bit closer and easier to get to those islands that have the swimming lanes. For younger travelers, some of the properties have beautiful, amazing water parks. I think you mentioned early on, Bahama is opening their water park in a few months' time, just before the 4th of July and Bahamas Independence, which is the 10th of July. So we hope visitors can come down and have a double independence experience with fireworks on the 4th and on the 10th. We also have lots of smaller activities, more intimate walking tours in downtown Nassau, where you can visit some of the culinary offerings, Bahamian fused with anything you can imagine. also some of our historic areas in downtown Nassau. If it's an adult walking tour, you can pair your culinary experience with some of our rums and stop at John Watling's, which is one of the rum distilleries in the islands in Nassau. Some of our smaller islands also have phenomenal programs for families and unique experiences for divers. You can have what we like to call a people-to-people experience in the destination, where we pair our visitor with a Bahamian ambassador. And so whatever you're really interested in is the thing that you get to do with that local, and you live like a local. You really experience the Bahamas like a Bahamian.
So, and that experience is so different from what we typically hear of for a people-to-people experience, where maybe it's a group of people and they're going to a school, or they're going, to a farm or something like this. This is, I tell you what I'm interested in. I mean, the example you gave me was, soccer mom. Okay, yes. Soccer mom gets paired with soccer mom, or Boy Scout gets paired with Boy Scout. That's amazing to me.
Guitar player will get paired with a guitar player. Someone who really loves culture and history, maybe is interested in museums, might get paired with a museum curator. So we really make sure that our visitor has a one-on-one, live like a local experience based on what they're interested in their vacation in the Bahamas. And we also have created a virtual version this month, in particular, the month of May. We have virtual experiences. Today at 7 p.m. is the Walk and Talk Like a Local tour. And tomorrow we have Local Life 101. The day after that is Happy Hour for those of you who are interested in making their own Bahamian cocktail, be it a Bahama Mama, a Gumbe Smash, or a Gully Wash. I'm just throwing those out there. You'll have to look them up on the internet. And then the day after that, on the 22nd, is Cooking Like a Local. So there's several events going on every day for the remainder of May that allows your agents and even their clients to have a virtual people experience.
And we should mention, our producer Ashley is going to put in the chat for all of you some of the websites that you can visit to learn more about the Bahamas, tourism, people-to-people, travel agent programs. She's going to put those in the chat for you guys so that you have them, along with the Bahama Mama recipe that you sent earlier in the week. What are the current protocols for the Bahamas?
So our current travel protocols are available on bahamas.com/travel updates. And what we are allowing as of May 1st is travelers that are fully vaccinated can come to the destination using their vaccination card, not needing a negative RT-PCR test. The Bahamas health visa is still required, and so that form is available on the website. And anyone 18 and older is required to fill out their own individual form. However, minors 17 and under need to be added to the parents' form. Children 11 and under are exempt from the vaccination. We've been keeping abreast of the U.S. protocols, and with the adjustment to children 12 and older in the U.S. now being able to be vaccinated, we adjusted and amended our protocols to put not just 10 and under, but now 11 and under are exempt from the RT-PCR test, because we don't want a family coming down and everyone is vaccinated 12 and over, and that poor little 11-year-old is stuck waiting for his 5-day RT-PCR test.
Right. Now, is there any additional testing once you're on site, except for coming back into the U.S.? Is there in 3 days there's a test, in 5 days there's a test?
Yes, so for visitors staying 5 days or 5 nights or longer, I should say, we have a 5-day rapid test, and that's actually built into the cost of the Bahamas Health Visa. So for filling out your Bahamas Health Visa application, you make sure you select that you're staying 5 days or 6 days or 7 days, and automatically built in, you'll get a notification that day 5 is coming up, and these are the testing sites available for you to take that 5-day rapid antigen test. For visitors that are staying less than 5 nights and want to do the rapid antigen test to get back home to the US, they can actually select that they're staying 5 nights or more, so that would be built into the cost, especially if they're going to one of our more remote islands where it might not be as easy to get the test, or the island clinic does not accept cash. It's easier for them to build in that 5 or 6 day stay, so that rapid test can be done on day 3 perhaps, or day 4 when they're departing on day 5.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. And it's not on site. You do have to go to a clinic.
Correct. Most of our properties do not have testing available on site. However, some of them do. So be very careful at the property that you're selecting to make sure you understand what their protocols are. Some of the properties have complimentary transportation to those testing facilities. So again, just be mindful of which property you're booking for your clients so that you can find out exactly what is available to them.
Great. And I know this is a hard question to answer when you work for the tourism board, but do you have some favorite properties that you love for families?
Oh, it's
Or
so
adults?
hard for families. So we do have a few national brands in the Bahamas, which are, we know our clients and our visitors are put at ease by knowing the brand or the flag. So of course, the Atlantis in Nassau is an easy fix for multiple types of travelers. For couples, definitely for your luxury traveler, maybe staying at the Cove, or for families staying at the Reef or the Coral Towers, depending on if they want a kitchen in their room, if they want a villa type room, if they want a standard hotel room. In Nassau, you also have the Bahama, a little bit more upscale, a little bit more deco chic. And with the addition of their water park, it definitely lends itself to more families. Neither of those properties are all-inclusive though. So for those families looking for an all-inclusive or adults looking for an all-inclusive, in Grand Bahama, we have the Viva Wyndham Fortuna, which is all ages, all-inclusive. In Nassau, we have Breezes, which is 14 and older. We have the Warwick, the Rio, and Sandals, which are adults only. And Sandals is also couples only. Sandals in Nassau is actually not opening until the fall, later the fall, but their property in the Exumas is open. So again, for those swimming pigs experiences, or even to get to reconnect with your loved one in 365 islands in the chain of the Exumas, you can go island hopping for a few days on your own private boat, or charter a piloted vessel and find your own private beach for a beach picnic.
Wow. And some of these experiences that you're talking about that are really unique and personal, will the websites or agents reaching out to you directly, is that a good point of contact to find out more information on these?
Absolutely. So on our website, we actually do have a travel agents page, and it's always evolving. So please stay tuned. The website will come up soon. I think it's bahamas.com/travel agents, nice and easy. And everything at your fingertips that can help with curating a trip for yourself or your clients is available on that website. We've created a new Bahamas specialist program, so you can enroll there and learn about our destination island by island, experience by experience. We have 3 essential modules and 3 specialty modules. So if any of you are romance specialists, or if you cater to a lot of dive groups, then that website and that specialist program training might be right up your alley. We have virtual experience as well, virtual exams that are available just a click away on that website on bahamas.com. And close to your fingertips as well as some of those flights and some of that ferry information that I mentioned. We also have on bahamas.com a new feature called Itineraries, where we have pulled together some sample itineraries for a few of our islands. And we've also got a tool on there that allows you to curate your own vacation or the vacation of your client's dreams by selecting some of the things that they might be interested in. If it's a beach vacation, or if they're interested in culture, if they want to go island hopping, if they're a foodie, they can select those things. If there is a specific island they're interested in, like Freeport, Grand Bahama Island, they can select that island, and then items populate on that platform according to the amount of days that they say they're going to vacation. So it'll give you a few options for day one, places to stay, things to do. If you want to do a snorkel right off the beach as opposed to having to take a 1-hour boat ride, that might populate. So certain restaurants right on the beach again, if you're interested in our Bahamian delicacy, conch, not conch, but conch, 2 hard K sounds, then you might want to go conch shack hopping, where you can have conch for breakfast, as in stew conch, or conch for lunch, like conch salad or conch fritters, or conch for dinner, like conch and rice.
So one of the things that you mentioned to me when we had our pre-show call that I thought was so fascinating is that many of the Bahamian people leave the island to go to university or school or whatever, but so many of them come back, and it was like this astronomical percentage, which looking at your view, I can see why, but I still think it's so fascinating that so many leave, but then what did you say, 90-some% come back?
The majority of us come home. Our population is under 400,000, spread over 32 inhabited islands, but like I mentioned, 700 islands and 2,000 keys. The majority of our population lives in Nassau, and we know our slogan is "It's better in the Bahamas," but it's not a slogan. It truly is a way of life. I left the Bahamas when I was 13, and here I am once again. I can't get enough of it. There's nothing like being able to take a 20-minute drive and be at a beach like this where you haven't seen a single person cross behind me the entire time that we've been talking. And that's the norm. It's not that it's a special day or that it's overcast or that something's going on and everybody else is on a different part of the island. This is the norm in our destination, where you can be the only person on a beach for hours on end on pretty much any of our islands. We love the Bahamas. We live like kings and queens here. We barefoot and happy and footloose and fancy free. And you know, some places are very luxurious, but it's still the warmth of the Bahamian people. They are very welcoming, and they want to invite you into their piece of paradise.
Oh, what a way to finish off. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for taking us to the beach today and for our Bahama Mama recipe. Guys, I hope you enjoy it. It's really very delicious, and it pairs well with a piece of cake. So thank you, Makala. Thank you so much for your time, and I can't wait to see you in destination, hopefully soon. Take care.
See you all in the Bahamas.
Oh my goodness, I'm so jealous right now. Oh. So one of our favorites is back with great information on the importance of securing deposits. Please welcome Kevin Kelly with his segment Groups, Etc. Welcome, Kevin.
Hi.
Are you
Hello,
just
Carolyn,
like
I'm back.
drooling now from that last segment? Oh gosh, to be sitting on the beach right now would just be amazing.
It would be. Absolutely.
So we should mention before we start chatting that your segment is brought to us by Norwegian Cruise Line, home to freestyle cruising, and agents should visit nclcentral.com for more information and great offers for their clients. So one thing that we've seen it all over our Facebook group, we've seen it in different chats online for travel professionals, that prices for travel are fluctuating all over the place. And so it's important for agents to lock in that price and lock it in quickly, which means getting a deposit from that client. So what strategies do you suggest to make this happen? And let's start with the land-based client.
Sure. Well, with any client, you know, and the reason we got on this segment is because I'm seeing a lot of people are coming along and they've made a quote, and we've all done it in our time, haven't we? A client called us up and just casually asked us to shop for them for their trip, and we didn't get all the details needed to make that booking. And then all of a sudden we go back and we say, "Oh, geez, we can get you on this offer," and it's gone and it disappears. We learned that early on. I learned it a little too much. That's why you get the big shine on my head. Because
that's the mark right there for the Botox.
Yeah, a lot of lessons learned along the way. I have some battle scars, but that's just what I'm finding. You know, so let's make sure when we qualify a client, let's make sure we have all the details to make a booking. You know, let's have first and last names, everything that's required to make a booking with the tour operator that you're dealing with. If we need birthdays, let's make sure we have the birthdays. And what I've always done is I've always said that, you know, the only way I can quote you is if I have your birthdays, all the information I needed. So don't move forward knowing it could be a friend of yours, but get all the details of who's going to be traveling, who's going to be in that room, and get those details. And that's a rule, and just say it's the only way I'm allowed to do it. Well, you made that rule yourself, so make that own rule for your own company, right? You know,
well,
don't we do that sometimes? Yeah.
What exactly? We get to make the rules, and what a great marketing strategy as well, because even in the event that this person doesn't follow through on the booking, you've got their information and continue to market to them without, you know, them having actually made a booking with you. So it's a strategy as well.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, then we get to that point where the agents, and I did it myself, sometimes you're afraid to ask for that deposit because sometimes it might be a very large deposit, and well, let them sleep on it. But if you've done all your work, if you've pre-qualified, if you've put them on the right vacation for them, then we're all set. We're good to go. And take the deposit. Most of the time, the deposit's fully refundable, practically all the time. So why not get that credit card, get them booked, especially when we're talking about, maybe I do a lot of cruises. So now they're emotionally committed. They can get involved in getting their cruise planner. They can go ahead and do the things that they need to do. And then the clients, there's no cancellation then. The client is now into this vacation. It's their vacation. They're planning their vacation. They're working with you because they're personalizing their vacation for themselves. So that's why, don't let them walk away. And early on, and I'm seeing with a lot of agents, they're afraid to ask when we deal with, well, we'll move along into the groups, but they're afraid to ask for the full deposit up front. And if you don't have a confirmation number and you've taken money from the clients, they don't have a booking.
Right. And they want that booking because you might get that client that says, oh, well, now 6 months down the road, okay, well, I want those 3 staterooms together. Well, if you've only collected a $25 deposit,
right,
those staterooms are probably gone.
I have a contract right here in my hand. So there's the initial date that you took out the group shell with the cruise line. Then it's 60 days later, it says it wants $25 per person. Okay, that's $50 per room. So you have a 60-day selling period. But what many agents think they should do is collect the $50 per person, and then at the next date, at the final payment date, they have all that time to collect the next payment, and then they can make the booking. When you're only putting down that partial payment, that $25 per person, that $50 per room, all that is that's the bulk deposit, and that should be put down by the group leader. If you're the self-led, if you're the leader of the group, that's we call it sometimes a placeholder, and that just gives you additional time to sell that space. The first 60 days, you should have your group together, and you should have them under full deposit, whether it be $250 per person, $300 per person, and that way they have a confirmation number. When you take that little, mini deposit and you think that that's what the cruise line is looking for to secure this space, well, you have not made a booking for your client, and now you've given them the opportunity to sit around for 3 months because you think you're doing them a favor. I don't want to collect all this money up front. Well, you just done a disservice to your client. They can't get those 3 rooms together. They can't get maybe the floor they wanted. They can't get the category they wanted. And now we're sponsored by Norwegian Cruise Line, and we talk about the new Norwegian Prima just came out. Well, they set a record on taking group space out yesterday on Norwegian Prima at deployment. Well, they're going to start recalling that group space that's unsold. And even that group space that just has that small deposit on it and has clients that aren't under full deposit, they can still, if you look at your agreement with them, they can pull that space from you. So they're going to start pulling on these hot sailings that we have coming up and these new ships. They're going to be pulling space because the floodgates are going to open. So I just want I've learned my lesson so many times, but not taking the full deposit up front or not getting them under deposit because I felt like, boy, I used car salesman, but no, you're doing you're there. You want to close the sale on the initial offering and get the deposit, and the client, is good to go then.
Well, and a couple things that we want to make sure that agents know to always put on their emails and on any paperwork they're sending over is that pricing and availability is always subject to change until deposit is placed. And I think the other thing that I've learned over the years is that when I have an electronic process, I close the booking faster.
Yes.
So I might send over my proposal with 3 options for the client, and then I would say, here are your next steps, and I would have links to, the credit card authorization and the insurance information. I'd have all that ready to go so that it truly was we like option number 2. She says to click on this form and give her the credit card information. We know the deposit amount. With that process in place, I close more bookings and I close them faster. So if you don't have that in place, advisors, try and get used to that, whether you're using email me form or tests or something, because if you can do that quickly, and the client's not waiting for you to get back to them, with the next steps. Put that in your proposal so that they know what they need to do in order to secure that price.
And you mitigate risks that way as well, right, by using these electronic forms. And I used Email Me form before I came over to test with KHM, because on my own, that's one of the beautiful things about being over here at KHM, is that you have these electronic forms and you have this technology available to you over here at KHM. And, it really ups your perceived value as a professional with your clients when you use these forms. And, it gives them a sense of security when they're signing on the dotted line and they're, sending their payment over in a fashion that's secure. So
Right.
I find that really helps close sales by all means. I don't take any credit card payments anymore without an electronic form. We just take them over the phone in our own home business. So yeah, and that's part of closing it. I was gonna jump in on one other thing. I thought I'd pass this along. Since we were talking about insurance, we talk about getting that deposit, and sometimes people are afraid to take the full deposit. And then you talked about, when we sell third-party insurance, that's due within the 14 or 21 days after. A lot of people don't realize when you're dealing with a group, you can take our insurance carriers here that we have here, our travel insured carriers at KHM, our suppliers. They will give you up until final payment date when you have your group registered with them to make your full payment to purchase your insurance, and you're covered under the pre-existing illness qualifications. So instead of having that 7 to 14 days, you have a time frame. You might have, if you're booking your group a year out, you might have all the way, 14 months if you're booking, 16 months in advance. So with our preferred suppliers with insurance, group insurance, you can register your group, and then you'll get that pre-existing coverage all the way up until final payment date. So that was a little tip I wanted to pass along as well. When you're looking at insurance, as you said, it's crazy all the time, and you can find that information right there when you look at groups within the insurance carriers.
That's fantastic. And I just wrote myself a note saying that's going to be another segment, because
Okay.
that's really great information. So Kevin,
Yes.
thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you here. So get those
Thank you.
deposits, and also don't be shy about it. You've done
No.
your work, you've qualified that client, get them on that trip and get them to buy in with a full deposit amount. So
You're
thank
doing a
you.
disservice if you don't take that deposit from them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks,
There's
Kevin.
scarcity in this business. Bye-bye.
Exactly. There's
We'll see.
scarcity now for sure. We're seeing that's crazy. Oh, you guys, it has been a great 20th episode. Thanks to all of our guests for being here and for joining us from their living rooms, their office, and even the beach today. So as a reminder, these shows are being recorded and will be available on YouTube starting tomorrow afternoon. Thank you to our show sponsor, Apple Leisure Group Vacations, and our segment sponsors this week. So go grab a slice of devil's food cake and a Bahama Mama and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, everyone.